Salisbury Beach boat ramp, and we are in luck. We're going to be able to see the sunset. Let me just adjust this because I realize now that you can't see that. So now you can see the sunset. It's going to be officially set probably in about 10 minutes or so. And this is the boat ramp, so it's kind of busy. A lot of people come here to watch the sunsets, and they come here to launch their boats. There was just a boat that is getting ready to launch into what is the Merrimack River. The Merrimack River goes from there and it goes that direction into the Atlantic Ocean. And there's a ocean beach, Salisbury State Beach, that in that direction, that way. So this is something that my daughter and I and my son as well, we like to come and watch the sunset. So here at Salisbury State Park, we can watch the sun rise very early in the morning. If we get up around like 5:15 in the morning, the sun rises around 5:35, depending on which day it is, and it sets around like 7:55. It changes a little bit each day because of, the whole going around the earth, going around the sun. And any case, so here we can watch the sunset. So if you're new, please let me know in the comments where you're coming from, and let me know, do you like sunsets? Do you like to go watch sunrises? Let me know. So we're very lucky. When I decided to do this, I wasn't sure if we would actually have a sunset to watch because it was a really cloudy day today. This morning it was raining, it was gross, it was cold. We woke up, everything was wet. If you watch my other lives, you've seen that we have a nice camper, but everything outside was wet. Our chairs were wet, our bikes were wet, the wood that we burn at night was wet, and it was cold and rainy all day long. And even a couple hours ago when we went to the beach, it was cloudy. You couldn't see the sun. So I wasn't sure if we would be able to see the sunset, but it's right behind me and it's really, really pretty. It reflects onto the water, and people come here to watch it. So I'm here at Salisbury State Park. We are camping for 2 weeks. We have 5 days left, and we came here. So it's 2 weeks camping. We have a camper. It's a camper. It's called a hybrid. So the beds fold out, and I went live and showed a tour of that. And we have fires at night. And one of the things we like to do is come and watch the sunset. And you'll see a lot of people coming here to watch the sunset. They'll come on their bicycles. They'll come on foot. Somebody I see coming here on like a little motorized cart. So lots of people come over here and watch the sunsets. And I think this is unusual because we can watch both the sunrise in the morning over the ocean, and we can watch the sunset over the river at nighttime. So please let me know in the comments where you're coming from. Let me know if you like to watch sunsets, if you like to watch sunrises. It's very unusual. Yeah, good evening, Yuri. So it's very unusual for us to be able to have a good places to watch sunsets. We can, because we're on the East Coast, we usually get up very early to watch sunrises. We have to get up really early to watch the sunrise. When I was in Mexico, I could watch the sunset in Acapulco, and it would be 6 p.m. and it was perfect. So this particular truck has just launched his boat, so he's going to go park the truck and the boat trailer, and then probably get in his boat and go. Maybe he's going to watch the sunset in his boat, or maybe he's going to go fishing. I'm not sure. But any case, yeah, this right over here is the boat launch over here for the Merrimack River, where people can launch their boats in, go in the Merrimack River, and if they want to, they can take their boats out onto the Atlantic Ocean, because the Merrimack River goes out to Atlantic Ocean if they go that way. So that's what that particular truck just did. He launched his boat, and now he's parking his truck and his trailer for his boat. So a lot of people are also coming here to watch the sunset. They'll be coming on foot, they're going to be coming on bicycle, and you have to be quick because it's actually cloudy, so I think we're not going to get a really awesome sunset. It's going to be quicker because I see that the sun is being blocked by the clouds, so I think sunset's going to be actually earlier because of the clouds that are on the horizon that are blocking out the sun. So unfortunately, if people were kind of late, they're going to miss it. But they'll still get the really pretty effect of the sun causing the sky to be kind of orangey. I think that's super beautiful. It's actually really beautiful. If you look at it, you can see that the clouds are kind of almost like a strip across the sun over there. So it's actually really beautiful. So maybe we're actually going to get a really good sunset tonight. And like I said, I'm very happy that we are getting a sunset because a few hours ago it was very, very cloudy and I wasn't sure that we would be able to see the sunset. So I'm so happy that you joined me. Let me know where you're coming from. And we're here to watch the sunset and talk about sunsets. Do you like to watch sunsets? Do you like to watch sunrises? Where do you like to watch them? Do you watch the sunrise over the mountains? Do you like to watch it over a lake? Let me know where you like to watch it. It's really neat how now the sun is now below. Some of the clouds are kind of blocking the top of the sun. So that is really beautiful. It's really a really beautiful orangey red right now. I know it probably doesn't look that way. The camera does not give it justice, and it never does. But it's an orangey red, and it's causing like the clouds above to be kind of like an orangey. The sky is kind of turning a bit orange, and the horizon is almost like a dark bluish, like a bluish purple. So let me know where you're coming from. Let me know if you like to watch sunsets. We're here talking about sunsets, and I see a lot of people that are coming over by foot, by bicycle, by car to watch the sunset. So let me know where you're coming from, and if you like to watch sunsets. Like I said, here, if we want to watch the sunrise, we have to get up super early. Is that river a big one? So it's pretty big. The river, it starts in the middle part of the state, I believe, state of Massachusetts. I know it starts at least in Lowell and Lawrence, which is the middle part of our state, and it goes to the Atlantic Ocean. It's pretty wide. I mean, it's not going to hold like super huge like ocean liners, but yachts, it's definitely big enough for yachts. We actually went on a whale watch, and I did put a post about that. And over across the river is the town of Newburyport, and there's a whale watch called Newburyport Whale Watch, very original name. And we went on that, and we started across the river on a, I'm not exactly sure. I think it can hold about, the actual boat can hold 88 people legally. So, and it had like 3 different decks. I sat on like the second deck, and we went out 18 miles to the ocean to watch the whale watch. So yes, it's pretty big, pretty wide. I would say maybe it's a couple miles wide. I'm not exactly sure by 100%, but I believe it's probably a couple miles wide, and it's big enough for good sized yachts to go in, but not ocean liners for sure. And I know that it starts like probably at least 30 or 40 miles to the west in our state, maybe even further, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I do know for sure that it goes from Lowell and Lawrence, and back in the olden days, I would say the olden days, the early 1900s, people would actually take ferry boats from Lowell and Lawrence, and they would take ferry boats and they would get off at this boat dock, which I'm sure looked a lot different then, and they had cottages. This place was not a state park. It actually was full of cottages, and they would come here and stay at their summer cottages. And then there was a fire, and unfortunately it burned down. But what happened was the state was able to buy this land and make it into a public park. So it's actually the biggest public park in Massachusetts for access to the ocean. It has over 4 miles of beachfront, the biggest park with for the ocean be able to access the ocean and the beach in the state of Massachusetts. I was just reading that. They have a sign that talks about the history of the park. And I was reading that. So now the sun is officially gone. Really, sunset is still probably another 5 minutes. The sunset looks just like it does here in the same cloud. So yeah, so the clouds, it was a very cloudy day, so I wasn't exactly sure if we would see the sunset, but we did see a little bit of it. Some nights, like last night, it was just rainy and gross and cold. And actually today, until about 11 o'clock, it was rainy and cold. But for the next 3 days, it's going to be an excessive heat wave, which means they actually say it's unsafe to be outside, which is kind of like difficult when you're camping because, well, most of the time you're outside. So we will go swimming in the ocean, but we're going to have to be careful because there's a high chance of getting heat exhaustion, to get burnt, to get what is it when you don't have enough water, dehydrated. So we have to be very, very careful. The actual weather will get up to the 90s, but it'll feel like 100, and that's Fahrenheit because we measure things in Fahrenheit here in the US. I'm not exactly sure what it is in Celsius, but it's going to get super hot. The ocean is cold. It's about 59 degrees Fahrenheit. And again, I don't know what that is in Celsius, but it's going to be very dangerously hot here the next few days. And we're here until Sunday. So the next 3 days, I think we'll be swimming, but I told my daughter that we can probably just stay at the beach for about an hour, then we should go back. Fortunately, our camper has air conditioning, so we can get into the camper and try to get cooled off, and just try to not be in the sun too much. So that's our plan because, like I said, the next 3 days, the weather looks, actually, they have like a heat warning on the weather app that I have. So they said that it's going to be excessive heat. So thank you for sharing that. Yes, sunsets and sunrises, they look the same in many places. But then different depending on, like I've seen the sun set where I live, where we don't really have mountains, but we have hills and it's really pretty. I've seen the sun rise and the sun set in the mountains, and seeing it by a lake or the ocean, that's my favorite actually, to be able to watch it by the ocean or by water, be able to see the sun reflect in the water and have all those beautiful colors of orange and pink. That's one of my favorite things to do, especially when I'm camping. I'll get up. I'd rather not get up super early in the morning, but coming here after dinner to watch the sunset is definitely one of my favorite things to do, besides swimming, as I think I probably told many people that I love swimming. So let me know. I know you said that you watch the sunset there in Kazakhstan. Do you watch sunrises as well? Do you ever get up for that? I know here, different, like into the wintertime, sunrise is not as early because, one, we change our clocks, but two, our days get shorter in the winter because we are very far north, and I believe Kazakhstan would probably be very, very far north as well. However, like in the middle of if you're close to the equator, it's going to be the same all the time. So when I'm up by the ocean in the winter, I can get up and watch the sunrise at 7:30 in the morning as opposed to 5:30 in the morning, because of the fact that our days are shorter. And I actually have gone to Maine in the winter, and I got up at 7 in the morning to go out and walk on the beach, and it was super cold. It was actually 11 degrees Fahrenheit, but it felt like -3, which is really super cold because I think 32 degrees Fahrenheit is 0 degrees Celsius. So -3 Fahrenheit is really, really super cold. Yes, we also have great pictures with the sun when the sky is clear. Yes, and you know what? We're also having a lot of we have a lot of forest fires in the west, like in California and Colorado, in the western part of the country, but that smoke is actually coming all the way to the East Coast, and it is causing a lot of haze, and it's also causing it to be like dangerous for breathing. Right now it's fine, but we had some days like a week ago, and I think some days coming up in the next week, where we're getting some of that smoke coming from the west, coming all the way from California and all the way from those forest fires, and it's making it that the sky's not clear. Like I remember one night I got up at night and I looked at the moon, and the moon was very hazy. I couldn't see, but I couldn't see any stars. I could see the moon. It was like, but it was like almost like orangey and not really clear, but I couldn't see any stars. And that was because of all the smoke that's coming from the western part. I think this kind of cloud is actually a smoke. So, you know, I know that we've had a lot of weather. Like I said, it was actually raining most of the day, like last night until like 11 o'clock today. So this could be still from the weather we had, but it actually also could be from these forest fires that we've had, that are still going on in the west. You can also see, like I said, people are coming on bicycles. There's somebody there on like a motorized little cart that they have brought here. There are some people that actually come here on motorized bikes, motorized scooters, people by car. Actually, I see somebody coming in a Honda Pilot, which is what I want to get next, and it's my favorite color, burgundy. Right now I have a 4Runner, and it's gray. It's a very kind of boring color. But in any case, people come here on their bicycles. They come here on scooters. They come here on motorized carts. And like I said, they come here to watch the sun set. As well as there's paths over to this direction. There are paths that go over to the ocean. English Valentine YouTube channel to learn English, so please check out his channel. Thank you so much for joining. And he's also a tour guide in Dominican Republic. So if you ever go to Dominican Republic, look up English Valentine, because he'll show you around. So yeah, English Valentine, I'm over at the ocean where we have a very super cold ocean as opposed to your very warm Caribbean Ocean. And actually I went on a whale watch the other day. And we got to see some of our whales that actually go down south to the Caribbean where you were at. They go down south in the summer to give birth to their calves, and up here they come here to eat, because our ocean is not clear. Our ocean actually looks like a blue-green. It's not clear like the Caribbean. It actually looks a blue-green because it has something called photoplankton. And so the other day we went on a whale watch and we saw humpback whales. We saw 2 of them. We saw a mother and her calf, and they come here to eat 3,000 pounds of food a day, because they only eat when they're up here north, because we have this very rich water, but cold water. And then they go down south where you live, down to the Caribbean to give birth, and they don't eat anything there because your water is so beautiful, crystal clear. And it's crystal clear because it does not have that photoplankton. I just learned that. And if you want to look, I put a post on my YouTube channel of pictures from the whale watch, so you can see the tail. Was very, very interesting. So thanks so much for joining English Valentine. So we just watched a sunset here. We're over by the boat dock by the Merrimack River, and here at Salisbury State Park we can watch both the sunrise super early in the morning if we want to get up close to 5 in the morning, and we can watch the sunset if we come over to the boat dock, because we are over here by the Merrimack River, which goes into the Atlantic Ocean. The humpback whales come here in January. Oh yes, right, they come there in the winter. They're here in the summer. I mixed that up. That's why I don't have the job as the tour guide. Actually, our whale watch was great. We had a biologist, like a naturalist biologist, that was talking about how they recognize the whales. And that's right. She did say that they go down in January to do the feeding, and they're here up here by where I live in the summertime. So I kind of mixed that up. Thanks. But yes, those beautiful humpback whales. We saw 2 of them. One of them actually had a little bit of scarring because a lot of people were fishing because of COVID, and the humpback whale got caught in some fishing line, very sadly, but they were able to get the fishing line off of the calf. So I learned that they actually recognized those humpback whales by their tails. And so when they saw the humpback whale, which I believe it was called jabiru, They named them. They named the humpback whales with names that are non-gender specific because they don't actually know that it is either male or female unless they can see the bottom or unless they see that it's with a calf. So they actually knew that this particular whale we saw was jabiru, and this particular whale was coming with another calf. So they were able to find out, okay, jabiru had another calf. So that was really awesome. And I guess in the afternoon, the one that I didn't go on, they saw 10 whales. So Kat, my daughter, who actually right now is sleeping because she's been swimming for a while, she wants to go back on another whale watch. She loved it. She'd never been on a boat before, and she had a fabulous time. And so we're going to make that part of our thing when we go to Salisbury State Park. We're going to go over to Newburyport, which is across the river, and we're going to go on a whale watch every year. So thanks so much for sharing that with us, English Valentine. So yeah, I had gone on whale watches when I was a kid. I had brought my son on a couple of whale watches, but my daughter, who's now 11, she'd been on a whale watch when she was a baby, so it doesn't really count. Yuri says, I always wonder how come, oh, I need to see this disappears on me. How come you are near the water? We here cannot sit like that. There are literally a lot of mosquitoes in every single moment. Do you have service that just, so you know what? You know, there are mosquitoes that way. The marshes are over there and the mosquitoes are really bad, but there's no mosquitoes over here. And I haven't had to use any bug spray. But if I walk closer to the marshes, which is in that direction, the mosquitoes will really start bothering me. I'm not exactly sure if the wind from the ocean or the river blows them away. But as I've been here on my trip, and we've been here, I think we've been here 9 days, I really haven't had to use bug spray at all. There are something called greenheads, and they're like a fly that bites. They're really bad in July here, but they're actually worse across the river, which is called Plum Island. And then when they bite you, they look like flies, but they're called greenheads because they look a little green and they hurt. But after, they don't really leave any itchy bumps like a mosquito. And there's another little thing that look like they're tiny things. They're called sand fleas. They're not the same fleas that a cat or dog would get, but they're things that would bite you. But I really haven't been bothered by any mosquitoes. I think I might have seen like 2 mosquitoes during the whole 9 days here. I seen a couple of these sand fleas that were biting. No greenheads, because basically they only live a month. They generally die at the end of July, and they mostly live on the other side of the river, and they don't have them so much here. So there's not a lot of need to worry about bugs here, which is nice. Like I said, I don't really like using bug spray, and I don't have to worry about that. So yeah, we can sit calmly by this water, especially now. Like usually even in my house, if I'm outside at twilight at the time when the sun is going down, the bugs are really starting to bother me, and I'm going to have to use bug spray. Or another thing I use at home is I take a fan from inside the house and I run an extension cord, because mosquitoes cannot fly into the wind. So if you run a fan and have the fan blowing, the mosquitoes cannot fly into the wind, and so they can't fly towards you. So that's like another thing that you can do to keep mosquitoes away from you. So yeah, we've been really lucky here. There really aren't mosquitoes, like I said, unless I walk in that direction, the marsh, where the marshlands are very, very important. I know that a lot of people go there to do clamming, but they're also important because we have a lot of birds that live there, and they're actually important for the environment. But they're also very infested with mosquitoes, which is probably good for the birds. I believe birds eat them. But like I said, I can sit here, and now the sun has gone down and the mosquitoes are not bothering me at all. So if you're new here, please hit the like button and let me know where you're from. We're talking about the sunset. Unfortunately, if you come here now, the sun has already gone down, but we did get to see that sunset going down, the sun going down, which is called a sunset in English. And in the morning, I can go over to the ocean super early in the morning, which is in that direction. And I can watch the sun rise. So we watch the sun go down, and in the morning I can watch the sun rise. And it is a wonderful place where I can see both those things, because like when I went to Acapulco in Mexico, I could only watch the sunset, which was beautiful, but I didn't watch the sunrise over the ocean because I was on the Pacific side. And in other parts of the ocean here in Massachusetts, you can only watch the sunrise super early in the morning, but because we have this lovely river here, we can watch the sunset over here. So that's really awesome. So let me know where you're coming from, and let me know, do you like watching the sunrise? Do you like watching the sunset? Let me know in the comments for sure. Like I said, we've been here. We have 5 days left, and we're heading into a super heat wave. Are there any mountains around? So right here, no, but there are mountains in Massachusetts in the middle part of the state. So right here, we're very close to the ocean, so we're at sea level. But there are mountains near where I live. There's one mountain called Mount Wachusett, which is barely a mountain. It barely fits the criteria to be a mountain, which I think is being over like 3,000 some feet. But there are mountains further west. We have what's called the Berkshire Mountains. So yeah, we do have mountains in Massachusetts, but by the ocean, it's flat. In fact, one thing I do, there's the Honda Pilot that just went by. That's the one that I want to get with the nice burgundy. But I digress. So the mountains, like right here, is very flat. So I like to bring my bicycle because I'm not a big biker, but I'll ride my bicycle around because it's completely flat. I don't have to worry about going up any hills. But as you go inland to Massachusetts, it's very hilly. In fact, I live next to one of the hilliest cities in Massachusetts, which is called Fitchburg. It's like, and then I work in the most hilliest city in Massachusetts called Worcester, and there are lots of hills. No mountains there, but we have a mountain that is about a half hour from me. Let's see, if we look over here, you can see some people that are going to bring their kayaks over to the boat launch, and they actually have a beach boat launch, and then they have a main boat launch. So any case, yeah, so we have a mountain where I live about 30 minutes from my house called Mount Wachusett, and they have skiing there in the winter, and they, in the summertime, it's just really like maybe you can climb it or something, but it's barely qualifies as a mountain. It's probably just barely 3,000 feet. But here it's all very flat. It's sea level because we're right by the ocean over here. There are also clouds here. I can't see the sunrise. Yeah, that's sad. It's cloudy a lot there in Kazakhstan? Is it often that you can't see the sunrise? I know here we've been very lucky. We've been able to see the sunrise and sunset on most days, but we've been having some rain. And raining here at the beach isn't super fun. We get a lot of high winds and it's cold. I'm lucky that I do have a camper, so I can go inside of it. Yes, today we expect rain. Yeah, it's raining each day. I think even when we're going to have a heat wave, it's going to rain probably at night. So, but we're going to have, like I said, 3 or 4 days of a heat wave. If you're new here, please hit the like button and let me know where you're from. We're talking about sunrises and sunsets, and we're talking about camping. I've been camping here for over a week at the beach, and I have about 5 days left here at the beach, and we just watched a sunset. In the morning, sometimes I get up and watch the sunrise. Right now, I'm going to put this back on here so I don't have to keep on holding it. I was holding it so you could see the sunset, but now it's over. Let me just fix that. So, yeah, so we've been able to watch the sun and sunrise on most days. Some days we didn't get up because we were just like too tired to get up early to watch the sunrise. But we've been fairly lucky with the weather. Usually August is a good month to come to the beach. There's really hardly any rain. Like I said, the mosquitoes, the greenheads are dead, and the weather is pretty good. June is cold for camping at the beach. July can be rainy and very hot, and August is usually going to have some good weather with not very much rain. But at the beach, by the beach, and I think English Valentine could say this, probably Dominican Republic too, you're probably going to get weather that is just coming in from the beach. Like we'll get a lot of thunderstorms and a lot of rainstorms that we wouldn't see inland because we're by the ocean. So we always have to kind of expect there to be a lot of like rainstorms and thunderstorms coming through. And it's interesting to drive by or walk around the campsite, the campground after a thunderstorm to see who had good tents and who didn't. Because if you had really strong winds, people that do not have good tents, their tents are blown over and destroyed. Because it's a place where if you do not come here with proper equipment, with tents that are made for strong winds, your equipment is going to be destroyed. It's going to be blown over. My aunt has said she's camped here and her poles have broken for tents and stuff. So if you don't bring really good equipment, you're going to have problems here. I've tented here, camped in a tent a few times, and every time I've had water in my tent. I've had problems with the wind blowing so hard that blew like, you know, parts of the tent and really like felt like the tent was going to blow. One time we had so much rain, water got in, and so we went to buy a big huge tarp, and we actually took the stakes out of the tent and we're using that to stake down the tarp, and that kept the rain out. But the next day when we took that tarp off, we forgot, and it was still windy, but it was sunny. So we went out to fly a kite, and then we were told, oh, are you in campsite Y32? And we said, yep. Like your tent is flying away. So we forgot about staking back down our tent, and that's super important because the wind is too strong here not to stake down your tent with really strong stakes, because weather here is more intense. What weather do you like? Do you like rains or heat? Now, so I like mild weather really, because the heat, like tomorrow we're going to have that heat wave and I get burnt easy. If you can see, I have very light skin. I burn super easy. And so I don't really like the heat, but at the same time, the rain, it's not fun to be here at the beach when it's raining. We can be inside of our little camper, but there's not much to do in there. We're just kind of like staring at the walls or staring outside. Outside of our tent, outside of our camper, we've got canopies and everything, but like I said, there's no way to stay dry, so you just end up being wet and cold out there. So I guess I like mild weather. Great way to learn English and about your country. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining, English Valentine. Thanks so much. Yeah, so I was just trying to share, you know, I wasn't really planning to do many videos on my vacation, but I ended up deciding to do a few videos. Why not share a little bit about one of my favorite places to go, which is Salisbury State Park. Beautiful, beautiful park by the ocean and by the river here in Massachusetts. And so I figured, why not share? Did one live about just our camper and showing that off, showing that to people and giving a tour of that. And then one about campfires, and then thought we'd do something about sunsets, and figured we'd come down to the boat dock to talk about sunsets. So just a little way to kind of like do something a little bit different, kind of go live on the cell phone, which is a little different. Sometimes when you put your comments out, they appear and then they disappear before I can read them. So it's a little different to do a live on the phone as opposed to on my computer, but it's fun to do it live on location. So if you're new here, we're talking about sunsets and sunrises. Let me know where you're coming from. We just watched a sunset, and usually at the beach, I watch a sunrise super early in the morning, and over here is the river, and we just watched a sunset over the river. So please hit the like, let me know where you're coming from, and let me know if you like to watch sunsets or sunrises. We're over at Salisbury State Park, where we can actually watch both sunrises and sunsets, not at the same time. So I get up super early and watch the sunrise, and in the evening I come over to the boat dock, and you can see, let's see, we can see this truck, and he's got his boat on his trailer, and he just took his boat out of the water. So we're over at the boat dock, and people have come on their bicycles and they've come on their, in their cars and on foot to watch the sunset. So yeah, we just have watched that. And what time is it now? It is 8:05. So sunset was technically, I believe when I looked on my phone, it said that sunset was going to be at, I think, 7:55, but it was a little earlier because of the clouds. It's 8:05 here now. So what time is it there, Yuri, in Kazakhstan? Let me know. I know people are coming from all over the world, and usually if I try to do a live, I do it at a different time because I know this isn't the best time for everyone. But since I'm on location, and also, 6:05 a.m., that's super early. So I'm not sure if you're an early riser. I am super early riser. Like I said, even when I'm not on vacation or if I'm working, I'm always up by 5 a.m. But I've been trying out different times to go live. And like I said, as I'm here camping, I just thought I would try different things. And tonight, going live at the boat dock and seeing the sunset. I am going to close the window though, just in case we do get any mosquitoes. Any case, so other things. So there's birds. We have seagulls here, and so the other morning I woke up and there was these new campers. I think they had never been camping before, and they had a tent, and I was up super early. I think it was like 5 a.m. and I was walking to the bathroom, and there was these seagulls, and they were like making a ruckus and making all kinds of noise, and the people had left a bag of hot dog buns on the table, and one seagull had the hot dog buns and was kind of like shaking it, trying to get the hot dog buns out, and the other seagulls were all fighting, and they were making all the squawking noise, and the people in the tent yelled, "Be quiet!" And I kind of was I felt like laughing because it was kind of funny. And then finally, I think the people came out and took the buns away from the seagulls, and I kind of felt bad for them because I was like, well, the people, I thought they're not going to eat those hot dog buns after the seagulls had their beaks all over them. Maybe they should have just gave them to the seagulls. And maybe the seagulls could have all had a hot dog bun if they would have just worked together and kind of split them up. You get up so early because of work. Yes, I do get up early because of work, but then because I always get up early, I think I've just started to get up early all the time, and I can't help it. So it's hard when I'm camping because everyone else is sleeping in, and I'm up at like 5 and ready to go, but you have to be quiet, and other campers are sleeping in other campsites. And so I try to sleep longer, but then all the birds start making their noise and all that. So it's hard for me. So I just can't sleep. So then I just get up and I make some coffee, and that's that. So no matter what, so I try to go to bed early because of the fact that if I stay up late, then I'm still going to get up early, and then I'm going to be really, really tired the next day. So yes, because of work, I actually work. When I work in Worcester, so I work about 45 minutes away. So it takes me 45 minutes to get there, and I work at a high school. So you can't be late when you work in a high school. You got to get there. It's not a good way to teach students to be on time if you're late. So I need to be there on time, right? And be there before the students. So if you're new here, we're live here at the waterfront or at the boat launch over at Salisbury State Park. And we just watched the sunset. So like I said, I get up early because I work in a high school, and it takes me a while to get there. So yeah, and because I get up early all the time for work, I get up early when I'm camping as well. So are you always an early riser? Let me know in the comments if that's something that are you an early person, or are you, do you stay up late? I know for me, I am up early. I do stay up late sometimes, but when I do stay up late, I suffer for it. So I have stayed up late sometimes camping. We'll have a campfire, and we can have campfires here until midnight. You have to have all your campfires out. Quiet time here is at 10 p.m., but you can have your campfires going until midnight. And when I do stay up late, I end up being really tired. Strategic English, thanks so much for joining. Let me know where you're coming from. So Strategic English, we just watched a sunset, and that's what we're talking about. I'm here live at Salisbury State Park in the United States in Massachusetts. So hit the like button and let me know where you're coming from. I'm just talking about camping in general. I've been camping here for about 9 days. We'll be camping for a total of 2 weeks, and we'll be here until Sunday. We might go live one more time. I'm not sure. We'll see. But tonight I decided to go live, and we watched the sunset. Over there is the river, the Merrimack River, and we watched the sunset, and there's still people coming. I see a woman that's walking over here, and she's got all her stuff for let's see, where is she? Can we see her? Yeah, she's got all her stuff for going fishing. She's got fishing poles, and there's some more people walking over with fishing poles. They're heading over. You know, I just went over to the river the other night, and I didn't know there was something called night fishing. Well, Yuri says, actually, I love to sleep more, but sometimes I just got up early to see the sunrises. Same thing with me. I'd rather sleep in, but I'd love to see the sunrisers. So I found out there's something I called night fishing. People actually have special fishing poles that light up. I went to the river to walk on the river at night, and I saw people fishing at night, which I didn't understand because I thought, how can you see what you're doing? And there were 2 families on the river, sitting on the river fishing, and some of them had these fishing poles that had like neon lights that lit up. And sure enough, there's people walking over to the boat dock with their fishing poles to fish, which was kind of strange to me. I wouldn't have thought people would fish at nighttime. It was like pitch black. Another thing that I saw, there were people, I was over there sitting on the beach at night, just kind of like relaxing, looking at the stars. Fishing is always better at night. Oh, okay. Do you catch more fish at night? I mean, I only fished during the day with my grandfather when I was younger, so I never knew there was night fishing. And actually must be special fishing poles that they sell for night fishing. Or like maybe there's special lights that you clip onto your fishing pole. I'm not sure. So I was sitting by the water, sitting by the river, and there were these teenagers, and they were kind of on the dune, and they were lighting something. And I thought, what are they doing? They're going to catch fire to the grass. We have all this grass on the dune, and it's very flammable. And they had this like kind of, it was like almost like a parachute thing, and you will light fire underneath it, and the fire will make it kind of float up like a hot air balloon. And I've seen them in Mexico. And I said to the boys, I said, wouldn't you rather be over by the water where you won't catch the grass on fire? I was a little concerned about that. But basically, when I was in Mexico, they were called Global del Fuego, I believe. English Valentine says, fishing is much better at night. So I never knew about this night fishing thing. People are fishing, tons of people are fishing during the day here, especially on the river, because that's where it's allowed. I never really noticed people fishing at night, but yes, people are fishing here at night. And now English Valentine tells me that fishing at night is better, and Yuri tells me it's better. Do the fish bite more at night? I never knew about that. My grandfather never went fishing at night, and he was a big fisher. He was a big fisherman. One thing, so what we have here that's very interesting, not in the summer, but in the winter, my grandfather loved going ice fishing. Yuri, do you do ice fishing though over there in Kazakhstan? I know that English Valentine, there's no ice fishing in Dominican Republic. Yes, we usually set nets in the evening when the fish begin to find food. Okay. So here in the US, like, and especially in all the cold states, our lakes freeze and people cut holes through the ice and they fish. Carolina, thank you so much for joining. Good evening. We're live here at Salisbury State Park, and we just watched a sunset, well, probably about 45 minutes ago. But we're now talking about nice fishing because I'm camping here by the ocean and by a river, and there are people walking down to the river to fish at night. And I didn't know about this night fishing, but I've just been told by Yuri from Kazakhstan and English Valentine from Dominican Republic that night fishing is very popular and that the fish bite more at night. I actually saw people with special fishing poles that have neon lights on them, and I was very surprised. Say hello to El Popilo, my student, 13-year-old student. Pupilo, El Popilo. Oh, hi, El Popilo. So thank you for joining so much tonight. I'm sorry, sometimes the little chat thing disappears really quickly on the cell phone, so sorry about that. Thank you so much for joining El Popino. Thank you. We're here, like I said, we're here at the boat ramp, and I just saw some people walking over to do night fishing at the boat ramp, and I'm sure there are people that are over on the other part of the river, which is to this side. The river goes for about 2 miles from where I'm sitting, and then they have 2 miles of beachfront there. Yuri says, yes, we have ice fishing here, except January and February when fish fall in winter, they fall to sleep in the winter. Okay. Is it because it's so cold there? We have ice fishing, and usually the ice fishing isn't until January or February, because here it's not cold enough because of global warming for the ice to be strong enough to stand on now until at least January or February, usually not until February. It has not been, let's see if that light's going to help. It's not been cold enough here, December and January, for that ice to be strong enough. And it needs to be at least, I think it needs to be at least like 12 inches thick to be safe to stand on, because if you go out on the ice and you fall through, like, you could die. You're going to freeze to death and die. It's very dangerous. So I know my grandfather would love to ice fish, and he used to go ice fishing even when the ice was getting very thin. And he used to tell me, I just go where the ice is cracking less, but I was always afraid of him doing that. Good evening from Mexico City, Marco, Antonio. Thank you so much for joining. I went to Mexico City, I think it's 4 years ago. Actually, I had a friend that I met on pen pal website, and I practiced Spanish with her for a year, and I went to visit her in Acapulco, and then we spent time in Mexico City. So thank you so much for joining from Mexico City. So when I was in Acapulco, I was telling people that I would watch the sun set in Acapulco, but here where I'm at, I can watch the sunrise super early in the morning at the beach, which is over in that direction, and I can watch the sunset over here. So in winter in Kakistan, I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong again. You said, let me see. The winter gets so cold that it's negative 45 degrees Celsius. Wow. That is cold. That is super cold. It doesn't get that cold here for sure. I think the coldest it gets here, and I can only tell you from Fahrenheit, but the coldest it gets here is sometimes negative 5 degrees Fahrenheit where I live. And I have no idea what that is in Celsius, but I know it's nowhere close to negative 45, because 0 degrees Fahrenheit is 32 degrees. No, 0 degrees Celsius is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So that I do know. So yeah, we're talking about, let's see. What were we talking about? Ice fishing. We were talking about ice fishing, and so Yuri says that in January and February, it gets so cold that you can't go ice fishing. We were talking about that because here where I'm at, people are going night fishing, and night fishing is apparently a very popular thing. I never knew it, but just the other night, we actually went across the river and we watched fireworks, because they had fireworks in the town called Newburyport, where we went on the whale watch. And when we came home, we decided to go onto the beach. So 113 degrees Fahrenheit. 113 degrees Fahrenheit is where you're at. It's 130 degrees in Dominican Republic. It's that hot. Is that what you mean, English Valentine? I know tomorrow it's supposed to get 100, and it's supposed to feel like 105 degrees Fahrenheit because of heat advisory that we're having, a heat wave that we're going to have. But if it's 113 degrees Fahrenheit in Dominican Republic, I'm going to not go there in the summertime. Maybe I'll go there in the winter. because that is just too hot for me. I think it's going to be too hot tomorrow here. Okay, Ismail. Hello, Professor Valentine and Ms. Rochelle. And that disappeared. Let me get that back. Supporting Dominican, you are coming from Dominican Republic. Thank you for joining, Ismail. So thank you so much for joining. If you're new, please hit the like button. We're talking about camping. We're talking about fishing. Ice fishing is a big thing here in the winter, but night fishing, I never knew about it. Apparently night fishing is a big thing. Like I said a few nights ago, we were coming back from the fireworks across the river, and we actually saw a party boat. And what is the coldest temperature in your place? So the coldest temperature in our place, I think, is -5 degrees Fahrenheit. So we saw a party boat across the river in Newburyport. So we went over to the river, and that's where we saw the people doing the night fishing. So there was a big party boat there, and it was really, really loud. And we thought, oh no, is that going to go all night? But apparently it was one of these party boats that has a party until like 10:30, that people pay money, a cover charge to be on. And they buy beer and wine and whatnot and have dance. And then at 10:30, it's the end of the party, and they get off the boat, and we're like, okay, that's good, because we're going to try to sleep. But they had a party boat across, and we want to see what all the ruckus was. So we went over to the river, and that's where we saw the party boat. We also saw people fishing at night on the river. So if you're new here, I'm here at Salisbury State Park. We watched a sunset about 50 minutes ago or so, maybe 45 minutes ago. And in the morning, over on the beach side, I can watch the sunrise super early in the morning. I'm pretty sure the sun is already up here behind the clouds. Yes, so you're on the other side of the world, where it is, like you said, it was like 6 in the morning, and here now it is 8:25. So the sun is gone, and we're probably not going to see stars, because now it's all cloudy. I don't think we're going to see stars. The stars are better here than where I live, because there's less light pollution, but they're still not as good to see. Like, we can't see them as well. But what I've been seeing at night when I can see the stars is I've been seeing Jupiter. And I wondered in my mind, what is that star? It's super, super bright. So I used a app on my phone called Sky Map. I believe it's by Google. And I can hold my phone up, and sure enough, it was Jupiter. So each night when I see it, I don't even have to look on my phone. I know that's Jupiter, and that's super cool. I don't know if anybody has used that app, but it's really cool. You can look at the stars, and if you're not sure, like, I usually know, okay, that's the Big Dipper, and okay, that's the Little Dipper, and oh, there's my son. He's probably coming over to ask me what was for supper. Oh, there he goes. So there goes my son. He likes bike riding. If you watched my videos, you might have known that he had a bike accident right before his graduation 2 months ago, and his foot healed perfectly. He had fractured his ankle, and the doctor said bike riding was a perfect way to have him recover, and he can go back to riding up to 50 miles, because that's what he likes to do. And he just was riding. I think he rode on a rail trail, which used to be they used to have a train there, but now it's for bike riding, and it goes across the river to Newburyport, and that's where he went. I think it was probably a total of 30 miles, and he's just returned from that. So we're here at the campground, and popular things to do here are fishing, swimming during the daytime, bike riding. Like I said, my son just went on a 30-mile bike ride, because there's a lovely trail here that they actually just finished. I don't know if that's a popular thing where you live, but here we don't have as many railroads anymore. So they're taking the railroads out, and they're making them into bike trails. Talking America, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you too. So thank you so much for joining. Talking America has another great channel to learn English, so please check out his channel. So we're here, we watch the sunset, Talking America, and so I'm a big fan of rails to trails movement. Yeah, so we had all these railroads, and we don't have it anymore, because we really love our cars in America, so we don't need them. And so we're making them into trails for bike rides or for walking. And now they have a lovely new one that is going across the river where I think the railroad used to go across the river. So you can take your bikes and go across the river and go to Newburyport. And that's where my son went for a bike ride. And I believe it's a round trip of 30 miles. So that's what he did. I think he left at like 4:30. He usually will go for like up to 50-mile bike rides all summer long. After his foot healed from his fracture, he has been bike riding, and he has been bike riding to an internship that he's done at a plastic factory that we have. He's going to go to school. I'm a very proud mom of a valedictorian. I have to say that. He was valedictorian from his high school, and he's going to Northeastern to study mechanical engineering. So I just have to take that moment and say, yes, I'm very proud. He doesn't like me like bragging about it, but it's not bragging. I'm very proud. So any case, so I'm here talking about camping, talking about fishing. I know people have said that they like fishing. Here there are railroads on the main transport here now because of COVID. The buses were abolished. So, I think during the really bad times of COVID, maybe subways and buses were kind of on halt, but not for very long here. But now you're required to wear your mask whenever you're on any planes or trains or buses. I have to remember to drink. When talking so much, I get really thirsty. So when you are on any buses, I went by plane to Michigan to visit my best friend, and I had to wear my mask the whole time in the airport and in the plane, except if I was going to take a drink of water or eat the little bit of pretzels they give you. But other than that, you have to wear the mask. I think that the buses and trains didn't stop for too long, but I don't really take the buses or trains, so I'm not 100% sure in like New York City and places like that how much. I'm not sure if Talking America could to speak to that, but I think they didn't stop too much in the US. I think masks were put in place in different states depending on where you lived. So any case, like right now, my son's actually riding around this campground. So I made food in my inside of my camper. I made spaghetti. That's one of my traditions. My grandmother was Italian and always went camping and always made spaghetti when we were camping. So it's a tradition to always make spaghetti with sauce and meatballs when we go camping. So that was the meal I made tonight. And so there's food for him when he goes back to our camper. He can eat spaghetti and meatballs. And they are meatballs that I made, but I didn't make them here at the campground. I made them in January and I froze them. So another thing that we do to stay safe, though, when we go bike riding here is we wear helmets. They're required, actually, for everybody under 16, but my son wears them because I taught him well. And he also has his light on. So, it's dark right now. It would be dangerous to be riding a bicycle around, because if you're driving, you can't see people very well if they don't have lights on their bikes. He actually should be wearing a reflective vest to be safer. That's one thing as a mother I worry about when he goes off riding his bicycle. I worry that somebody's going to hit him. So I would really like him to be wearing his reflective vests at this time of night too. But there's not many people here. In fact, I'm the only one left here besides the people fishing down there. Everyone else has decided to go back to their campsites. And then my son is riding around. So I guess he didn't get enough bike riding on his long bike ride. So any case, if you're new here, let me know where you're from. We're here at Salisbury State Park, or I'm here at Salisbury State Park in Massachusetts. It's by the ocean and I'm sitting by the boat dock. We're talking about sunsets and sunrises and fishing and camping in general. We have a few days left. We leave on Sunday and we are going to have some really, really hot weather. We're going to have 3 days of a heat wave where it's going to be dangerous to be in the sun for too long. Actually, they say don't be in the sun. So we will go out and swim in the ocean, which is super cold, but I told my daughter we're going to take some breaks from the sun. We're going to go swimming for maybe an hour, but then get out of the sun because where we are on the ocean, there's no shade unless you bring your own umbrella. And even then it's super hot. So we'll be trying to get out of the heat, make sure that we're drinking enough water so we don't get dehydrated and we don't get heat exhaustion. So let me drink some water right now. So that's what I'm doing. I love, my favorite thing to do is go to vacation by the ocean. I'm not sure where other people like to vacation. Do you like to vacation by the mountains? But my favorite thing, it's a once a year thing that we do here, is we vacation by the ocean. And it is such a wonderful place that we're able to vacation here. Like I said, there used to be cottages here until 1913 when there was a fire. And now the state has bought this land and made it into a park so everyone can have access and not just people that own cottages. So I'm going to be like signing off pretty soon, but if anybody else has any last questions, you can let me know in the comments. I want to be mindful of everyone's time. And I wonder if my son is hungry because he's riding around here, which is kind of strange. So, is there a special track for bicycles? So yes, like I said, when I was talking about a rail trail, that is like a special kind of trail that is for bicycles or people walking, but also on a lot of our roads, especially in Boston and big cities, there are special, on the roads, there's like a special lane for bicycles. Other than that, bicycles legally can go in the same, like the bicycles are supposed to ride on the same side of the road as cars and use your arm signals to indicate when you're turning. So they can just share the road with the cars. They should be riding on the side of the road, but they can actually get into the middle when they're taking a left turn. But big cities like Boston and New York, maybe, I know San Francisco and stuff like that, have made special lanes for the bicycle. So English Valentine, you keep on saying 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that how hot it is there in Dominican Republic? That's really hot. I would think, does it cool off at night? I'm not sure. That seems very, very hot. I'm not sure. Let me know. But like I said, I'm going to probably end pretty soon because I'm wondering, with my son riding back and forth, if he's wondering where the supper is or something. So any last questions, any last comments? Other than that, might go live one more time before I return home on Sunday. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll try a sunrise by the ocean. So thank you so much for joining. It's been awesome, and make sure to let everyone know. Yeah, thank you. I enjoy doing the live stream. It's a lot of fun. My mind goes in a million directions, so I sometimes forget what I'm talking about, but thank you so much for joining. Let other people know about this channel because we want to help everyone around the world. And thank you. Good night and good morning, wherever you are.